and turned relatively unknown comic heroes like Iron Man and the Guardians of the Galaxy into box office titans. That was revolutionary. In terms of box office performance, Disney holds the record for the most films that crossed $1 billion, including The Lion King, Frozen 2, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Avengers: Endgame, which earned $2.798 billion and still holds the second highest box office gross of all time. In 2019, Disney achieved an industry first by releasing 7 films that crossed $1 billion globally in a single year. In 2024, it was once again leading, dominating 25% of the US box office with hits like Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2. Despite all these impressive performances, Disney at some point didn't play its script right, and now it's bleeding. Marvel, its once invincible juggernaut, is now the wound it can't cauterize. Take Phase 4, for example. It wasn't just bad or mediocre. It was a complete identity crisis, playing out on the biggest screen imaginable, in front of fans, critics, shareholders, and the very stars who helped build it all. The decline didn't come from villains. It came from inside the house. And now, Disney's scrambling, not just to fix Marvel, but to convince the world it's not already too late. The question many people are asking is, how did Disney let this happen? Let's rewind. Marvel Phase 3 ended with Avengers: Endgame. The only movie had a perfect ending, billions at the box office. Tears and cheers everywhere. And then Disney made the mistake. They didn't pause. They didn't plan. They just greenlit everything. Every character, every spin-off, and every half-baked idea. They thought they were being bold. They thought they were expanding the universe. But instead, they set it on fire. She-Hulk, Eternals, Secret Invasion, Miss Marvel, Thor, Love and Thunder. Each one was worse than the last. Each one chipped away at the fan base. And each one sent a message loud and clear. We don't care about quality. We care about quotas. Bob Iger himself admitted it. This wasn't storytelling. This was content farming. Diluted, stretched thin, unfocused. That's not an online critic saying it. That's Disney's own CEO saying their $50 billion IP is failing from the inside out. Now, She-Hulk. Let's talk about the show that broke the camel's back, and nearly broke the internet in the process. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Marvel's comedy legal drama that was neither funny, legally coherent, nor remotely compelling. For many, it wasn't just a flop. It was an insult. The writing was bizarre, the CGI was laughable, and it appeared that the audience was mocked repeatedly by the show's own characters. Many say the show tried to mock its critics with on-the-nose dialogue that came off as arrogant, smug, and wildly tone-deaf. And then, we have this, the most unintentionally memorable line. That's what Disney thought fans wanted. Not stories, not heroes or cosmic stakes, just weird ideas with huge production costs. And what did it get them? Not even a spot on the Nielsen Top 10. Think about it. Miss Marvel barely scraped in at number 10, and She-Hulk didn't chart. It had only 38% on the Rotten Tomatoes audience score. Even YouTube reviews were brutal. While this was already catastrophic, behind the scenes, Marvel insiders were leaking the truth. That's right, what you saw was the fixed version. As She-Hulk tanked, other properties followed. For instance, Thor, Love and Thunder, a $250 million joke. It made less than Ragnarok, despite costing nearly 40% more. And it looked like it was edited on an iPhone. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. With all its momentum from No Way Home, it ended up introducing the most forgettable villain since Malekith. And let's not talk about Eternals. This one had the lowest audience score in MCU history, just like Secret Invasion. The show was so boring it put the Skrulls to sleep. Marvel's brand used to mean event-level cinema. Now, it's a punchline. Even Marvel's most loyal defenders are turning on them. Supporters who once hyped every release are now dissecting Disney's every misstep with precision. But here's the shocking part. Despite these talks by the former Disney fans, Disney's response has been unprecedented. According to Bob Iger, Marvel is pulling back dramatically. They're spending less, making less, and risking less. They're not expanding anymore. They're retreating. And the people who worked there are getting overworked, under-resourced, and burned out. This wasn't growth. This was corporate greed with a cape. And now, it's all falling apart. But hold tight, because the biggest hit is just emerging. While Disney was flailing, Warner Brothers was watching. They saw the cracks and went for the jugular. Watching Robert Downey Jr. flirt with the idea of returning to the screen. Watching Chris Hemsworth lose faith in the franchise that gave him his big break. Watching Scarlett Johansson humiliate Disney in court. They saw their moment. And they didn't just throw money, they threw respect. They gave Downey Jr. serious roles. They gave Chris Evans meaningful projects. They gave Zac Zack Snyder full control. They even paid Denzel and Will Smith, all as a strategy to make their talent whole. They did what Disney wouldn't. And now, Warner Brothers has the attention and the loyalty of Marvel's most bankable stars. You want to know how bad things really are? Look at Disney's big play. Their escape attempt is to resurrect Iron Man and Wolverine. No, seriously. RDJ is being begged to return. Even Hugh Jackman is dusting off the claws. That's not confidence. That's desperation. They've run out of new ideas. They've run out of momentum, and they've run out of patience. Now they're playing the only card they have left, nostalgia. But it's not going to work. Because even if Iron Man comes back, even if Wolverine joins Deadpool, even if they get the entire original Avengers lineup back together, it still won't save Marvel. And it's all because of one thing. The trust is broken, the magic is gone, and the fans, they've already left the theater. But how did it get to this point? What are the different factors that caused Disney to wander off till it got to the point of no return? Let's talk about that. The final betrayal. The Avengers cast isn't just gone, they're with the competition. And the suits at Disney know it. Remember that Avengers-level threat Kevin Feige warned us about? It's not Kang. It's not Galactus. It's not some multiverse variant with a tragic backstory and zero charisma. It's Warner Brothers, and they didn't invade with supervillains. They used something far more powerful. Multiple sources have confirmed that Warner Brothers has signed deals, both formal and informal, with at least 4 former or semi-active Avengers actors. Robert Downey Jr., for instance, is now a Warner darling after Oppenheimer. Chris Evans is starring in serious dramas, not Disney Club, and Scarlett Johansson is happily working in adult cinema, as in cinema for grown-ups. Other actors like Mark Ruffalo are now publicly trashing corporate culture, even to the point of taking shots at Disney's merger with Fox. The Avengers cast is speaking with their feet. They're walking out the door and walking right into Warner Brothers productions. Now let's not forget what Disney did to these people. Scarlett Johansson, the Black Widow's actress, was underpaid by over $25 million, then publicly accused her of greed. Brie Larson was set up to fail and left hanging when the audience turned. And Chris Hemsworth, he was given what critics called the worst Thor movie ever, and humiliated with goofy jokes about his own character's legacy. But now, Warner Brothers has handed them a lifeline. For much of the 20th century, Warner Brothers was the quintessential film studio, home to Looney Tunes, Casablanca, and later the Harry Potter franchise and DC Comics. By the 2010s and early 2020s, it had lost its footing. In 2023, Warner Brothers Discovery posted a massive $10 billion quarterly loss, including a staggering $9.1 billion write-down associated with its underperforming TV business and the cost of mergers. At the time, its streaming platform, Max, was also behind Disney, plus in profitability and global reach. But despite the financial turbulence, Warner Bros. Made a major comeback in 2023 and 2024.